Hi, everyone, and welcome to MLS 5303. This is Applied Research. Essentially, this is a research methods course, and that's how I teach it. It's one of the more challenging courses that I teach. So because of that, I adjust some of the ways that I structure the course because I really want to want you all to focus on understanding the concepts that we're going over and the different methods and methodologies. So let's go ahead and get started and go over kind of like just a general information about the course. So all of my office hours, because it's an online course, will be done online. You can do those via Zoom. There's going to be a link on Blackboard that you can use to access the room. The times and dates are listed on the syllabus, so make sure you check that. And if those days and times do not work for you, please email me and we can set up a time. I usually try to be as flexible as possible, so you can ask some of my former students. I always make sure I'm available to you all, so please, if those days don't work, just let me know and we can figure something out. Please use my email address when you're trying to reach out to me. I usually, in fact, disable the messaging function on Blackboard just because it's a little bit more of an inconvenience checking that one, and it's easier for me to access my email and respond to you right away. So that's how you can get a hold of me. Sometimes I have my office hours here at my house, and other times I'm on campus at UTEP. If you want to meet me in person, that's something you just make sure you email me and we can figure out a time. Even if it's during my office hours or it's outside of my office hours, I'm more than happy to meet you on campus. But most of the time, I most likely will be here at home during those office hours. But yeah, just let me know and we can figure something out, whether you want to meet on Zoom or whether you want to meet in person. So like I mentioned before, this class, I run it exactly like a research methods class. There are 2 books that we'll be using throughout the course. The first one is available to you all free on Blackboard. It is called Research Methods by Nicholas Wallerman. That is kind of going to give you a general gist of the different options and the different ways and techniques and methods that people can use when they're putting a research project together, different things that you would consider and factors that you would consider when trying to choose the best one to use for your particular project. And the next book I use is mostly about statistics, and I like this book by Whelan called Naked Statistics because he uses a variety of different examples to make sense of things. Now, I'm the first one to admit that I have used one particular set of tools for my own personal research, and I'm a qualitative researcher. So in terms of quantitative, I know plenty of students, even colleagues, that avoid quantitative research and research methods. We're going to cover a lot of those things. And the whole point of this course is to kind of give you an overview. My whole focus is making sure that once you're done with this class, that I just want you to be able to read a research article, understand it, and be able to explain it to somebody else. That if someone were to give you, whether you're in academia or whether you're outside of academia, regardless of what industry it is, if someone were to give you this type of information, you would know what to do with it and what decisions to make. So I'm not expecting anyone to leave this course and be able to do this entire research project on their own or do anything like SPSS, if you even know what that is. That is not the point. So that's why I like this book, Naked Statistics, because it does provide a number of examples to kind of help kind of weave our way through all these different concepts. So in terms of the other materials you might need, we just need to make sure you have internet connection, obviously, for an online class. Always make sure you're checking your UTEP email in case I need to send anything out to you all. And Blackboard. Blackboard is where we're going to be doing everything for the course. Like I said, everything in terms of where I'm posting grades, where you'll be posting your assignments and your discussion boards, everything's going to be on Blackboard. I've never had any issues with anyone participating. I will say you need to make sure you read the syllabus carefully, especially if you've taken courses with me before. Some of the changes I've made to this, or some of the things I do in this course, are different than I do in other courses. So particularly pay attention to the assignment descriptions and the requirements for those assignments. In terms of diversity, I want to make sure, usually is an issue in this class, but when we're talking online, I want to make sure that we are understanding there are a variety of different identities and personalities, and that we're respecting everybody, and when we're having arguments, that we're arguing ideas and not identities. If anyone needs any ADA accessibility assistance, make sure you reach out to Cass, and they'll reach out to me and make sure we're making whatever accommodations we need to make. And like I said, online etiquette, more than anything, just make sure you're being respectful to one another, and that'll be it. Although this class is a little bit different than some of the other courses you might have taken, either with me or with some of the other professors in the program. But yeah, just make sure you're being respectful. So these are my policies. In terms of late assignments, I really avoid trying to have late assignments, although I know life happens and things come up. So just make sure you're communicating with me and we can try to figure something out if we can. Grade appeals is a 24/7 policy, so wait 24 hours before you start yelling at me, and then come to me within 7 days so we can talk about your grade and kind of what issues you might be having. In terms of ethics and academic dishonesty, I really try to make myself available to you all as much as possible. I've tried to put a ton of resources up on Blackboard for you all for the different assignments. All that being said, I don't want you to ever feel like you're in a position where you would need to plagiarize on any of your assignments. I have tried to give you as many resources as possible for these assignments, and like I said, try to make sure I can answer whatever questions you all may have. So please make sure you don't resort to anything like that. And in instructor student communication, I can only help you if you let me know that you need help. Now, if you come to me the last week of class and say you haven't done well all semester and you're missing a bunch of assignments, how can you get an A? There's not a lot I can do, but if you start falling behind, or if you're not getting the grade on your discussion board, the first couple weeks of class that you think you should be getting, we can have a conversation and kind of figure out where you're falling short and fix things from there, but I can only do that if you're communicating with me. And expectations for work. I can only judge you based on what you turn in. I can't grade what effort you put into it. Now, grad school is a little bit different. We don't have any tests. We don't have any quizzes, at least not in this class. And so I do expect you to be able to delve into the readings and put in as much effort as you can on these discussion boards and the different assignments that we have. But I can only grade you based on what you've turned in. I will say that the easiest way for folks to lose points in my class is by simply just not following the directions that I have listed on the syllabus in terms of what I'm looking for the assignment. So again, all I can do is grade what you turn in and not the effort that you're putting into it. But I will say, when you reach this level and you're in a graduate class, it is very easy to see who's putting a good amount of effort into these different assignments, and it's evident in their grades. So in terms of the assignments, I try to keep it as simple as possible. My main focus, like I said, is making sure you have a foundational understanding of research methods once you leave the course. So all that being said, these 3 assignments are the first, Blackboard discussions. Typically, you would be responding to classmates, but for this course, I just really want you to focus on doing the readings, and when you're answering these discussion boards and these prompts, that you're kind of bringing in both the readings as well as your own personal experience and how you're kind of your own, the way you're synthesizing and analyzing the readings, right? I want it to be very clear that you are putting in the necessary time and effort in constructing these discussion board posts because of the fact that you're not having to respond to any classmates, right? So there are going to be 7 of those. You don't have to worry about one for the last week of class. For that last week, I want you to focus on the final paper. The second assignment, which is due, I believe, in week 5, is a research analysis and discussion. What I want you to do there is what the whole focus of that one is to get you into the practice of being able to read, understand, interpret, and explain an academic journal article. So you'll choose one for whenever that assignment is due, and then you're going to basically explain that article to the class. And the way, typically, if this was an in-person class, you kind of sit in a round table, and everyone will kind of take their time, talk for 10 to 12 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and kind of talk about the authors, what the main focus of their paper was, what were some of the methods that they used, what was the outcome, and then kind of their own personal kind of takeaways from whether they liked it, they didn't like it, how they would have done things differently. It's completely up to you on how you want to present it. Some folks just kind of pop up their phone and that's what they want to do. Other folks put together a PowerPoint to go over it. It is completely and totally up to you. You'll record a video doing this research analysis and discussion. You'll be posting it onto Blackboard. And then we have the final paper proposal. This final proposal is very similar to what you would turn in if you were doing a thesis and you had to do a prospectus or a dissertation prospectus, where you are basically proposing, here's what I'm going to do, right? It includes an introduction, has a literature review, your methodology, and then kind of anticipated results and what you think, basically what you think is going to happen, right? You don't actually have to do the project that you're proposing for this class, at least, right? So the benefit, or kind of like the fun part of it, is that you can make this as big or as small as you want because you're not going to actually have to do it, right? All I want to be able to see is that you come up with this idea of what you want to study or understand, and that based on the readings and everything that you've done and the research that you do on your own, that you are picking a methodology that you think works for you. Right, so that's the whole goal for this final proposal paper. In terms of what kind of the basics are, the requirements for the paper: 10 to 12 pages, 8 to 10 sources. 5 of those have to be academic journal articles. Needs to be in APA format with 1-inch margins and double space and Times New Roman font. All of this is in the syllabus, so in case you don't want to come back to this video and look at the requirements, you can find it all there on the syllabus. So, lastly, in terms of how to approach this course and some of the readings and just in general, some of the things to consider as you're going through these 8 weeks. Focus on the key ideas, right? If you see, especially in the Whelan book, if you start seeing a bunch of numbers and you start getting overwhelmed, don't worry about that. Focus on just understanding the key idea. Make sure process over everything. Just make sure you understand the different processes that people go through to picking the particular methodology or theory that they're using for their study or their project. And lastly, don't get lost in the weeds. Right, like I said, there's going to be some big terminology that's being used. There might be some numbers and statistics that are being used. It's okay if you get a little bit lost, but just try to focus on the main ideas of the course. If you have questions or anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I try to construct the discussion board prompts to focus on, I think, kind of the bigger ideas versus kind of the very specific things. More than anything, I just want you to have fun in this class, right? It's very easy, even in my own personal experience, not teaching, but in taking methods courses, for this to feel very overwhelming, and I don't want that feeling. I don't want you all to have that feeling. So take your time with the readings. Make sure you're taking the time and putting in the necessary effort on the discussion boards and all the other assignments, and you'll do just fine. But if you have any issues, if you come up with any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and we can figure out a time to meet.